your strongest tool in the toolbox is to model the work. Like, be the adult you want your children to grow into, be the leader that you want your people to be. Like, I'm going to model that authenticity, which includes get over yourself.
What you do when you isolate is you think that you have this wall up to protect yourself from the bad. But what I found was that that wall was protecting me from the good.
Masks, walls, armor, whatever we want to call them. We put them up because we believe the lie that they protect us from what's going to hurt us. And what they really do is they shut us off from the true connection that we are made for. Welcome to Courage is Built Here, the podcast. I'm Justine Froelker, licensed professional counselor, author, speaker, and corporate trainer. Here, we bring my Courage is Built Here curriculum to life and community. Each week, I invite a guest to walk one of the 5 courageous pathways with me through authentic, sometimes tough, sometimes hilarious conversations. No performance, no polish, just real people practicing real courage with grit, grace, and a whole lot of love. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Courage is Built Here podcast. Today we have Pathway 3, Be Fully You, how to show up authentically. So in Pathway 3, we learn and talk about and lean into the skill sets of authenticity, vulnerability, and self-compassion. It is really the question of who are you? How do you show up as all of who you are, flaws and all? In all of the places, spaces, relationships that you exist in with all of the people that you have. What's it look like to live authentically for you? And in order to be authentic, you must be vulnerable. If you want courage, you got to wrestle with vulnerability. Courage simply does not exist without vulnerability. The question that I always ask in my trainings is, like, who are you? How do you show up? And if you dare to show up as all of who you are, more times than not, people will show you who they are. And that's what we were meant for. Like, we were meant to do this together in community, in relationship. In order for that relationship to grow, to take root, you got to have 2 people who are willing to be authentic, to lean into their vulnerability, to choose courage. And so it includes, like, you have to kind of wrestle out some of the things that maybe you have learned about vulnerability from the world, from your childhood, from your leadership programs. Vulnerability is a strength. It's not a weakness. Vulnerability must be boundaried. Vulnerability it requires us to trust. I have to trust you in order to be vulnerable with you, and I have to be vulnerable with you in order to trust you. Like, vulnerability never feels comfortable because our brain is not wired for it. Our brain wants to feel safe and comfortable. Our brain doesn't like to feel vulnerable. And yet vulnerability is the only place that we can experience really what is some of the best things of this life: joy and creativity, innovation, relationship. They're all from the foundation of vulnerability. And so what's it look like to be fully you? And today, my guest, my friend, you will see a beautiful example of someone who truly is she is authentic everywhere she goes. My friend, Sarah Guldalian, she is the executive director of Rooted Sisters, which is a women's business ministry here in St. Louis. And actually, they have chapters in Boston and Houston now too. So Sarah is one of those people that she's kind of like, she's almost like, she's the walking embodiment of faith, of scripture, of Jesus. No matter if you are a believer or not, you will get something out of this. I promise. Lean in with us because she really, really speaks to what it looks like when we allow rejection or what people think to steal our authenticity, and how that affects our relationships in the workplace and also in our relationships like parenting and things like that. It's a really beautiful conversation. Lean into it with me. And thank you for being here. Let's welcome Sarah to the podcast. Welcome, Sarah, to the Courage is Built Here podcast. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Justine. I'm so excited to get to be a part of this and everything you're doing. I love you so much.
Thank you. I love you. I'm so excited for my community to meet you. All right. So I'm going to start you off with a question that I begin everyone off with,
Okay.
like based on the pathway that you chose to talk about. So when you think about courage, most especially through that lens of what I call pathway 3, be fully you. So
Mm,
in pathway 3, we talk about things like authenticity, vulnerability, self compassion.
yeah.
So when you think about courage through that lens, is there a story or a moment that comes up for you?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So I have always been, as you know, like a little bit quirky, a little bit different. And when I was in school, especially in like my younger years, primarily middle school, that's not great, right? Like it's not great to be
Right.
different. And so for me, I had ADHD. I know that's not a surprise to any of you that know me. I also had a back brace because I was born with scoliosis, and then you throw some braces in there and all those kind of things. And so I was different. And that was not like kind of the time where you wanted to be different. You wanted to blend in. And
Yep.
if you're different, you wanted to be known just for pretty and suave and
Yep.
just add to it like my personality where I'm all over the place. My nickname was Rhino growing up. And so I think what I find courage in is finding yourself in a season where you really don't have any friends. That sounds crazy, right? It sounds crazy, but I had those moments, and then I've been popular. Don't get me wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
that season, and then I'll flash forward to a season in college where I realized I had an issue with partying, and my life had gotten out of
Mm.
control, and I needed to walk with the Lord, and I had to have no friends for a while because I had to break away
Wow.
from the group I was hanging out with
Wow.
if God was going to change me from the inside out. So courage to
Mhm.
have no friends there. And then I had a time in business where I'd come out of great success and some things were said about me and I had some great losses and I felt like the Lord told me that I didn't get to defend myself. And so again, I had to sit in a season by myself and have no friends. And guess what? God gave me courage because God was always with me. And I can always have courage when I know
Yep.
He's with me, which means I will never be lacking in courage. So I think the greatest courage
Mm.
is not having friends and knowing that you're still good because you have Jesus.
Oh, that's so good. It's so interesting that I love that you started off with friends because I literally just said to Chad, like, I was like, I am so grateful for the women that God has brought into my life. Like, I've had friends, and great friends. I have a couple friends that have been really like truly lifelong friends. And you go through seasons of like how close you are to them or, how much you talk to them. But like, I am not sure I I was maybe ever truly my full self or had the level of friendship that I have in my life now at the age of like 46.
Yeah,
It was kind of overwhelming, but like when I really think about it after what you shared, like it's like, yes, I had friends and I didn't know who I was. I was also like not a great version of myself.
right.
And so there was, it was in many ways felt like no friends in some aspect. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
it makes total sense. You and I always make sense to each other. And it makes sense. And then I would say, like, Courage 2.0 is to get comfortable there, and then the Lord's like, "Oh, okay, now it's time for you to get into community, and I want you to be
Yeah.
part of a group. I want you to be
Mhm.
friends. I want you to be"
Yeah.
because that takes a new level of courage where you're like, "Ooh, well, that hurt before, so I'm kind of afraid to
Uh-huh.
put myself back out there." So some of it is about the courage in seasons that God's calling you to. Like, there's that courage to be alone, which He calls
Yep.
you to, and then there's that
Yep.
courage to go back into community, which he calls you to, but the whole way through it all comes down to it's trusting him
Yep.
and surrender in him. And quickly
Uh-huh.
I just have to laugh because when you and I first connected, we were
Yeah.
both walking, taking a break from community, walking on a path, and we're like, "Hey, it's you. I
Yeah.
know you online." And then we were like, "I love you. I'm gonna be with you, and we're all gonna hang in community, but I need
Right.
me time first." So
Correct.
both are important, right? Both are important, seasons and
So
timing.
important. I know. I'll never forget it because you were like, "Oh, who's your roommate?" And I was like, "Oh no, I stay by myself." Like,
I'm like,
I have
"Wait."
Right, like, I need to stay by myself. I love community, and I am probably a very true introvert, and I think a
Yes.
lot of people are surprised by that, but I'm it's probably both, right? Ambivert or whatever we call it now, but, like, I need my time to fill back up, and I think part of it is because it's because of who God has called me to be, who He's created me to be, but also what I do for a living. I pour into a lot, and so I
Yeah.
have to make sure I refill, and that requires time alone.
Well, and I think, as you were saying that, and I'm thinking about you, I'm thinking about when you are present with somebody, you are so
Mhm.
locked in. Like if I sit across
Yeah.
from you, like now or when we were eating lunch or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I can tell you are full. You have fully charged up to sit there and give what you have to present that
Mhm.
energy. And so you're
Yeah.
smart. And I do the same thing, sometimes not as successfully. I get off
Yeah.
by myself. I try to recharge by chilling out, talking to the Lord, doing
Mhm.
nothing, writing,
Yeah.
right? And then so
Yep.
you can present the best version of yourself, and I think that's authentic too. We're talking about that, right? Like authenticity.
Yeah.
It's like I'm keeping it real. I love y'all. Need time away from y'all to appreciate it. Then when we're back
Right.
together, I'm bringing it.
Exactly. That's so true. That's so true. There's a part like, so for me, when I think of you, you are I you are super authentic, and I can imagine that, like, so one of the things that I get a lot when people meet me in person for the first time is like, "You are exactly like I thought you would be." Like, right, you are
Aw.
exactly as you present online or as you present on stage, like, you are like,
Mhm.
they match up, which is always one of the greatest compliments, 'cause authenticity is what it's about for me, and I feel the same way about you, and so I wonder, especially from the times of your life where no friends, as you
Yeah.
say, like, how do you reclaim some of that authenticity? Because I can imagine it's in those seasons, at
Mhm.
least for me, it's in those seasons where there's been part stories that I believed that, like, my authenticity, my vulnerability,
Mhm.
who I was created to be wasn't appreciated, wasn't good enough, wasn't perfect enough, wasn't fun enough, was too much or not enough. And so, like, how do you reclaim those parts, especially in different seasons of your life, to truly be all of who you are, to for the for the persona to match the real person, the online person to match the real person, for you to be who you are in all of the spaces that you exist in? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because, I'm an empathetic person, which I think is greatly because of difficulties that I experienced growing up. My parents are fantastic. They did end up, getting divorced. God's poured grace on that. They have amazing part or, an amazing wife and husband now. But I think going through difficulty growing up, you don't want people to see that. But the great thing is
Mm.
when God when you give him what you have, which is pieces, right? Give
Yep.
them the pieces that you have, rejection, brokenness, um, you know, feeling powerless as a kid when all you wanna do is help the people that you love. When
Oof.
you give them those pieces, it's amazing how he takes what the enemy meant for our harm, like Joseph said in the Old Testament.
Mhm.
God takes what the enemy meant for our harm and turns it around for the good. So he has turned that into empathy for me. And what he's
Mm.
used and how he's used that in me is that empathy, it can be bad, right? Empathy can be bad. But the kind of empathy when you're walking with the Lord looks more like love, like Jesus. And what he's done is he's shown me that, okay, I don't need to worry so much about what people think about me. God has actually brought me into their life to be an encouragement to them.
Wow.
Excuse me. And what is it
Yeah.
that they're hiding? What broken piece are
Mm.
they experiencing? What is their day like? What is their family like? What is their health like? What are they walking through? And I'm talking about celebrities I've worked with, just anyone going into
Yeah.
it. And you don't come in like, hey, I'm less than. When you've gone through something
Mhm.
like that and God's forged you and you've gone to Him, you don't come in like you're less than. You come in and you start thinking about them and you think, oh, you know what? I've been through a hard time and I could fake it too, but you might be having a really rough day and I want to bring you hospitality. I want to bring you kindness. I want to
Yeah.
bring you encouragement. So what God did was he turned it into empathy, which then he taught me to turn into hospitality, which when I get in front of people that I used to feel when I was little lesser than, my family didn't have a
Yeah.
ton of money, but I went to nice schools. You're trying to make it.
Yep.
When I get rid of all of that insecurity that doesn't matter and I quit comparing myself to how much they make or what their success is, I can actually bring them that love of Jesus, which is really important to me. I can shine the light of Christ. And so what I think is that you got to get over yourself. You got to get over
Yeah.
yourself. There's a point where you need to get healed, and the Lord will heal you if you go to him and you bring it to him. And then you got to get over yourself. You don't get to
Yeah.
wallow in that the rest of your life and compare yourself. And
Yep.
I tell my kids, I have awesome kids, I talk about them all the time, but
Yeah.
I tell them, you're not above anybody and you're not below anybody.
Yeah.
So they can just show up in that moment and be empathetic,
Yeah.
hospitable to people. So the funny thing is,
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed about anything I say because I think I'm not hiding the things that I used to hide. And I'm not hiding the
Yeah.
things that they probably feel like they need to hide so that they feel encouraged. They feel like they can
Mhm.
speak to it and then maybe other people will experience a sense of healing from Jesus too.
Right. Absolutely. That's at the heart of pathway 3, be full of you. I always whenever I'm teaching, I like when you dare to show people who you are,
Yeah.
flaws and all, uh, more times than not, they will show you who they are. And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
you're in connection. And like that connection that's literally what we were made for. I don't care how introverted you might be. Like we were meant to do this together. And it takes like when I have the courage to show up authentically, more times than not you will too. And it's that your strongest tool in the toolbox is to model the work. Like be the adult you want your children to grow into, be the leader that you want your people to be. Like I'm going to model that authenticity, which includes I love get over yourself.
Get over yourself.
It's a significant part of this work though. Like
It is.
it is.
Because listen, like even if you feel like for me, okay, there's going to be people that have known me my whole life and look at me and be like, "You were never not cool. You were never not popular. You always have people around you. What are you talking about?" It's more
Yeah.
about the spirit that you take on and the rejection that I took on. The feeling
Ooh.
internally of rejection that
Yeah.
I had to give over to the Lord, right? So like I really think that it's getting over those things and allowing yourself to be healed so that you can
Mhm.
actually then quit sabotaging yourself and then start to get into healthier conversations. You can start to
Yeah.
get into healthy relationships. So I think for me, all of that to say, when I felt a spirit of rejection on me, I started chasing after popularity. I started chasing
Ooh.
after fame. I started chasing after those things. And what I found was that they are fake.
Right.
What I found was they are
Yeah.
phony. And what I was looking for was genuine
So true.
connection, but I was going about it all the wrong ways. What I found was I was
Yes.
depressed and I was anorexic and I was like what I found was those were not leading to healthy things. And I was
Right.
starting to hide things, right? Like then you start to hide things when you're not making good choices. And when
Yeah.
the Lord frees you of that, when you want to go to other people and say, "Oh my gosh, if you think I was cool or you think I was popular, or you think I was famous, blah, 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 whatever it is,
Yeah.
I gave you a bunch of baloney. And I want to come to you and say, I want a real shot at a relationship with
Right.
you. And here's my mess. And if
Right.
you think that's cool and we can still hang and you know that like
Yeah.
Jesus saved me and he can save you too, then like let's do this thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So you know me, I
Yeah.
get excited about these
Oh,
things.
that's so good. Did your did how you show up, like your authenticity, did it look different? Like, so right now, and my listeners learn this in the introduction, but like you're executive director of Rooted Sister. It's a ministry. But
Yeah.
before that, you were not in the ministry world, right? Or like you were, but
Yeah.
it was like a
Yeah.
well, like you said, famous scale in some way. Like
Well,
it feels different.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I started work I majored in broadcasting and politics at school, and I started working in ABC when I was 19. I'm always a worker. So I'm 45
Yep.
this month. I've been working and nonstop working in TV production, event production, film advertising, like doing all of that for my whole
Yeah.
career. Now, what I'll tell you is half of that career was in international ministry, like media
Okay.
and production. So A lot of so I did the what the world would call secular thing, which is such a silly
Yeah.
term, but, like, just all these different places. And then
Yep.
what I came to find was, like, okay, Jesus healed me, changed my life. I wanna go out and use my gifts to bring him glory. So I went into the Christian, side of media and production. I've owned
Okay.
advertising agencies, and,
Yeah.
even as a Christian, when you own an advertising or marketing agency, you go in, and for me, I want to be the light of the world. I want to help Christian businesses. I want to do this and that. Well, you got to take some big clients of different types if you want to, feed your team.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I've been in the business side of things
Yeah.
and I've been in the Christian ministry side of things. After a big business change in my life that was very humbling, I went and worked for a big kind of a mega church and then a mega
Okay.
ministry. So I've been on both sides of that, but all of that to say
Yeah.
the Rooted Sisters, which I know we'll get into, but I joined the Rooted Sisters, this ministry for professional women, as a business owner, and I've been a part of it kind of almost always since it's existed. So, I am a ministry business person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has it looked in all of those different arenas, spaces
Mm,
throughout your career, did your authenticity look different?
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, when I started my first agency that did well, it was probably 12 years ago. I went out to be a light in the world because my calling is as an encourager and an evangelist. So my life verse is Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. City on a hill cannot be hidden. You ultimately, I want to go out and shine for Christ, and I set out to do that. And you know me, I'm like guns blazing, whatever I'm excited about. I'm like, woo, Jesus, and whatever it is. And so then as we grew quickly, the fear started to set in, fear of man, fear of keeping
Yeah.
clients, fear of paying my team, feeding my family. And so I started to change again a bit, trying to be what, business people act like. Oh, that's what a business
Yep.
person acts like,
Yeah.
or whatever. And I started to let my light go out because I started to think, oh, you got to have a poker face in a negotiation. People tell me I look too naive or I look too dumb or I'm giving away too much information. You got to make them never let them see you sweat, fake it till you make it. And so I
Wow.
changed my personality to be more like tough enough that guys would take me seriously, that
Yeah.
older people would take me seriously. And that again, ended in depression and anxiety
Mhm.
and isolation, Justine. Because when I'm not my authentic self, I cannot
So
form
true.
any real relationship. And so I
Mhm.
felt like a real breakdown of any real relationship. And you cannot have a genuine relationship with someone when you are not even an actual person. Who are they relating to? You know?
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
I've ridden on a high horse, gotten humbled, hoping to stay humbled. But yeah, over time, you're right.
Right.
You try to
It's so
acclimate
true.
sometimes.
That it's something that has come up in a lot of these conversations when we lose our when our light dims,
Mm,
because that ultimately, like, when you're not living in your authentic self,
yeah.
who you were created to be, your light is dimming. It's there. It's always gonna be there, but it's dimmed, or sometimes we hide it. The thing that comes up over and over and over in these conversations is it's exhausting. And you added
Exhausting.
on top of that, it's also really isolating, because how do people have true connection with you if you aren't your true self?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I think what you do when you isolate is you think that you have this wall up to protect yourself from the bad. But what I found was that that wall was protecting me from the good.
Yeah,
So yeah, what you're sharing is exactly that. Is
yeah,
that I and obviously I'm a strong Christian and I'm not embarrassed, which alone shows you that I'm very authentic. And I lost
yeah,
friends from it? Yes, but that is
yeah,
okay, right? Like that's okay
mhm,
with me because I don't have time
yeah,
for everything always. But yes,
right,
ultimately for me, I just realized that like I just want to walk in the light,
mhm,
stay in the light, and that when I'm dim, there are other people that can, that also sometimes
yeah,
we get into a season, you need them to shine on you. So I had to pull that
absolutely,
wall down, get out of
yeah,
isolation, a tactic from the devil, honestly, to
mhm,
isolate.
mhm. We put up those whatever we wanna call them, masks, walls, armor, whatever we wanna call them. We
Mhm.
put them up because we believe the lie that they protect us from what's going to hurt us, and what they really do is they shut us off
Yep.
from the true connection that we are made for.
Yes, that is so true. And I've seen this in my parenting too. Like I'm thankful the Lord did this work in me, over the past decade or so
Mhm.
because I it's allowed me to show up authentically for my kids where they know that they can they can legitimately tell me anything because they will see me standing in front of the church or women
Yeah.
telling them that. And so they don't even like if someone tells them a really difficult thing, I see my kids are
Yeah.
16 and 13. They're not weirded out by it by people because they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh man, that's tough. Let me pray for you or whatever." And then with
Right.
me since I tell on myself including apologizing to them when my
Yep.
anxiety gets me to react a certain way or whatever, it allows
Yep.
them to tell me anything, and I mean, it is hilarious when teenagers feel comfortable telling you anything in front of a group of people. When you've trained them to do that, you're like, "Oh, man. Okay. Alright." But for the most
That's
part,
so
it's
good,
very
though.
healthy.
Uh-huh. That's so good. I always tell parents, I was like, I love because parents will I mean, I've had CEOs say to me like, "Well, I was always taught never to say I'm sorry or
Oh,
to never
yeah.
apologize. Like, I'm the one in charge. I'm the one that's supposed to do everything." And one of the things that we always draw on is like, how often do you say you're sorry to your children? Because I guarantee
Right.
that you've messed it up.
Yep.
And so that modeling of that vulnerability to say, "Ooh, that was not my best, bud. Ugh,
Yeah, I
I'm
had to do that
sorry."
Saturday. Like, I tell Zane, he's
Really?
16, I'm like, "Bro, call me if you need anything. I'm here." And
Yeah.
I'm out at the grocery store with Maddie for her birthday, and he calls, he's like, "Mom, I can't get my bike in my car at this new park." And I'm like, "Yo, it's Maddie's birthday now. Like, what is He's like, "Come help me." So I get there and I feel convicted on the way over. I'm like, "Dude, I told you if you needed anything, I am here to help you." And
Uh-huh.
I was just like all about myself and my timetable then. I'm sorry. And he's like, "It's cool." But it's just the little things even. Just
It
apologize as
is.
often as you can. Keep those
Yeah.
relationships authentic and light.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That vulnerability and authenticity, it builds and repairs the trust that we have among people.
Yeah, that's look at you. You are
Yeah.
amazing. And my mom. My mom loves you.
Yeah.
My mom will talk about anything until the
I love
very
her
end
too.
of the thing. And
Yep.
the beautiful thing about that, as she models that for me, is that when she goes to be
Yeah.
with the Lord, when she's 100, uh, she's not going to carry, I'm not going to feel like she carried anything with her. We're clean right now because we talk about everything in that moment and get
Right.
it out. We don't carry anything.
Yeah. That's so good. I just wrote myself a note for a Courage Tuesday to do a teach on resentment. Because when you
Yeah.
do that, when you truly live in the moment, when you are truly authentic, when you actually say what you need to say, you don't have to live with resentment. If I'm feeling resentment, it's probably on me
Yeah. Yeah.
because I haven't walked in my authenticity. I haven't said what I needed to say. And so, like, it's an emotion that, like, we choose for ourselves, but we love to blame other people for.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, Justine, I know I seem like happy and nice and everything, but I will be really real. There are some relationships that you have to not be in. You have to get out of those.
Correct.
So I have
Yep.
learned I can be authentic when I am walking around fair
Yeah.
people. So I don't expect anyone to be perfect by any stretch of the
Yeah.
imagination with me, but I have learned that I can be authentic when I'm around safer people. So I
Yeah.
do have to make a distinct choice about what kind of people I spend my time with. And that is not cliquish because I'm not. You know me, I'm
Yeah.
friends with like
Yeah.
everybody. But there are
Right.
certain relationships
Yep.
that for me to feel safe being myself, I've had to
Mhm.
realize that, you know what? I have to lay a boundary here.
Yes.
And I'm not inviting everybody into every situation
Correct.
because I'm protecting the calling God's put on my life. And that is being honest, authentic, and shining a light.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a piece that a lot of people think authenticity and vulnerability is oversharing.
Mm,
And that it's not oversharing. Vulnerability has to have boundaries. I can't drop my deepest, darkest secrets on everyone. And a lot of times what happens is when we do that, like we're just trying to hotwire connection, except you
right.
can't hotwire it. It takes time. Like it
Yeah.
takes time and small bids of connection to grow that trust and that relationship. And not every space we exist in, have to be in, choose to be in sometimes has earned the right to see all of who we are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has to be a boundaried version of it.
Right.
And it's still me, because I will say, like, the older I get, the more I practice this work, the more I heal. I am done. I am done. No matter how unsafe the space might be or how unsafe the person might be, I'm done allowing you to take my courage. It's
Yes.
going to be it's going to be a boundaried version of it. Like, I'm still going to be me, but you don't get all of me,
Right. And I think
right?
it doesn't mean, I had a relationship with the person that I was very close with, that hurt me deeply, and I would not even go places that I knew this person would be at. I was scared,
Yeah.
And so I have
Yeah.
learned that I can have the courage to both go live my life, and also the courage and to go places and not be afraid, and also the
Yeah.
courage to not deal with that. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
it's a
Yeah.
courage of walking with the Lord to
It
make
is.
decisions. The other thing I would say that's very important, in my opinion, about vulnerability and authenticity is that I am only authentic and vulnerable about the things that the Lord allows me to be. So there are
Mm.
things that the Lord has told me or put into my heart that I
Yeah.
will never speak to anyone about, because that's just the Lord gave me that word or that insight. So I'm checking with him.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is I will never share anyone else's personal information.
Yep.
So, cuz to me that's just scummy. Right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
when people see how outgoing I am and how willing I am to share,
Mhm.
I am willing to share my information because
Yes.
I prayed in those moments, God help me and I'll give you all the glory. And I want to make sure God gets all the glory for pulling me out of those pits.
Right. Right. I love it. So good. Oh, so good. Are you ready for your last 2 questions?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So the one that you know is coming. When did courage look different than you expected it? And what did it teach you?
When did courage look different than I expected, and what did it teach me?
Mm.
Well, I like I said, it took a lot in me to start to feel comfortable to do things alone, to not be in a group with people all the time, to not
Yeah.
be living my life based on popularity or the opinions of other people. It took a lot to get into that place where I put God on the throne and took man off of the throne. So,
Oof.
that was a
Okay.
big deal. So then, like I said, it took courage for me when the Lord said, "You know what? It's time. It's time for you to get back into community." And I don't mean you're just getting coffee with a friend every week. I mean,
Yeah.
you are going to have 1,300 sisters that you hang out with constantly. It took courage, because
Yeah.
I think there is that underlying fear of like, "Oh, do I dress it's silly, but do I dress
And
nice enough?
I
Or
know.
does it matter that I don't get my nails done? Will they really receive me? I haven't done as many cool
Yep.
things as them. Or will they really receive me? I might have
Totally
done
true.
things that they think are cooler than what they've done."
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
the time that it's taken courage is to quit comparing myself to other people so that I can truly get back into community and to begin to give good people my trust, my
Yeah.
energy, and my love. And I think that takes
Yeah.
courage for all of us, especially in this day and age and this era. And
Yeah.
it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. Yeah.
Mhm. I agree. Me too. And I love that you, like, said out loud all of those fears, because yep, I had those exact same things.
Got man hands. I don't plan on paying $80 for my nails. I just don't.
I
I
know.
just don't care.
I'm like, but I don't wear heels, and I don't want to wear heels. I'm
I
wearing tennis
know.
shoes to that event. Am I going to be the only one? What are they going to think about me? And it's like, and also practice what you teach, Justine. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are.
Right. And it is funny because I feel convicted because as I've gotten out in front with a lot of these beautiful ladies that I'm so
Yes.
close to, I I tell them I'm wearing garage sale clothes. I tell them I'm wearing my son's rejects, and they just love me more. They just love me
Right.
more. So I
Yep.
was judging them thinking they were judging me. How terrible.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's so true. That is so true. So true. All right, your last question, your surprise question.
Oh.
What is one part of yourself that you are reclaiming or honoring right now?
You know, I I really do have to say, Justine, that it was timely that you asked me to do this because I really do feel convicted that it really has been courage. And I know that sounds really easy because that's the theme of this, but the Lord has put on my heart for a while, Ephesians 5:11, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And so the Lord has been calling me out to speak more boldly about things that used to make me shake, to share some
Yep.
parts of my testimony that I didn't want to, that I
Yeah.
didn't want to share.
Yeah.
And just to say I'm not okay with some things that are not okay that happen
Yeah.
around us. And so courage is one of those things. But I
Yeah.
think the other thing, if we want just a different word, is just that Sabbath. I feel like I've been
Oof.
running for so long. I have done so many things, and I'm just so thankful that God has given me the opportunity. But there have been times that I've taken the opportunity and He didn't give them to me.
Yeah.
And it is
That's
time for
real.
me to slow down 45 to take those breaks, not think I'm above
Yes.
God who rested, and learn to
Exactly.
Sabbath better.
Yep. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That could be its whole own season is rest and Sabbath
Oh my
of the
goodness.
podcast.
Do it, girl. Do it.
That is, yeah, yeah. That will have to be maybe your second episode.
Let's see how I did. Let's claim it in faith that I'm going to be resting
Okay,
more in
okay,
Jesus' name.
okay. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for doing this. I
Oh,
love you so very much.
Justine, I love you
Where
so very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Where can my community connect with you if they wanna connect with you? Where's the best place?
Okay, so I would love for y'all to go to therootedSisters.com. We're a women's ministry for, professional women where we just study the word of God, grow in our faith in Christ, and learn to lead others to do the same. So go to therootedSisters.com. Also, if you want to read my vulnerable stories, things I've learned, you can go to my website, sarahguldalian.co, and I share vulnerably about the things that I walked through just to give God the glory
I
for what
love it.
He's
I
done.
love it. We'll link it all in the show notes. Thank you,
Ah!
my friend. I love you.
I love you too. Have a great day. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Courage is Built Here podcast. Whether you're brand new to this work or living it out loud every day, I hope today was helpful, hopeful, and a reminder that you're not alone. What one bit of courage will you take from this episode, and how will you walk it out? If this episode encouraged you, share it with a friend, leave us a review, and please make sure you like and subscribe. New episodes come out every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform and Fridays on YouTube. For more resources, head to JustineFroelker.com and click to my store. Because courage isn't a one-time thing, it's built right here, one small choice at a time, and especially between us.